Hey guys, this week we are going to the upside down with this Stranger Things themed cake. Here I've got an 8-inch round already covered in white sugar paste. As always, the links are below to the full tutorials on how to achieve this, even down to making the ganache. You want a piece of greaseproof paper that's long enough to wrap around the cake, placing the straight edge halfway up. Pin it in place around the back and then one at the front, so half is covered and half is left open at the bottom. Next, rip a piece of A4 paper in a zigzag to create organic mountain shapes. Hold this against your cake and follow the hump pattern with red airbrush colour. Keep moving the paper around the cake and then upwards to create a red mist effect. Sorry, the camera has a mind of its own here. Then gently airbrush over the whole thing to cover the white bits. Gently remove the paper and leave this to dry. Drying time will depend on your climate, your airbrush colour and your sugar paste, but you'll know when it's ready because you'll be able to touch it and it won't come off on your finger. Then place a straight edge to cover up the whole red area and cover the top half in the blue misty sky. This colour was teal and I'm going over the very top edge with navy. I'll leave all the links in the description box below. Then I'm covering the top in black, starting from the centre and letting it fade as it gets towards the edge. Then remove your paper to reveal your split worlds. Cover the board in black paste using the toilet seat method. As always, it's linked below for the full in-depth tutorial. Take your Dresden tool and mark in wavy lines all the way around before trimming off the excess to neaten it up. Now I've traced the name onto some greaseproof paper. I'll leave a link to the font below. I made the N and the E bigger so it was more fitting to the logo. Lay it on some red paste with Tylo powder added and trace around the letters before cutting them all out with a scalpel. Stick your letters to some black paste with water and then cut out around them, leaving a rectangle of black. Let this dry on a mat for a while. Then on to my favourite, foam core. This one is 5mm thick and I always buy it in A3 size. Again, everything's linked below. As my cake is an 8-inch round, I'm using an 8-inch drum as a template to draw around. Cut this out with a scalpel to create your backing board. Kebab sticks can easily be twisted up inside for the supports. Trim them down so that it will fit inside your cake. Cover your backing board with white sugar paste and trim off most of the overhang. Lay it upside down on a foam mat to protect it and then run some piping gel along the edges to stick the paste to. Using a scalpel, trim the back flat before flipping it back over. Using some more paper, airbrush the teal all over the backing board before deepening the edges with navy. With a paintbrush and black paint, draw on some tree trunks. A few of you have said that you have shaky hands when you're painting, but it actually comes in handy here for all the lumps and bumps on the trees. Put that to one side to dry and stick on the name so it's in the middle of the two colours. This is the silhouette of the Demogorgon when you see it in the sky. Usually I can do it freehand, however this will be flipped upside down and my brain just isn't clever enough to figure it out. So I've quickly popped it on paper, spun it upside down and traced the outline on with the Dresden tool before following the lines with the paint. Now you want to paint a black line between the two worlds and start adding details such as bushes, trees, grass, buildings, power lines, fences, signs and plants. Then you want to go ahead and do the same thing on the top half, only this time the right way up. With the finer paintbrush, go in with some power lines. Remember, they will hump upwards as they are supposed to be upside down. This was all done freehand and made up as I went along, but feel free to create a template if you wish. For Will's castle, I've cut out a rectangle of paste that's slightly marbled, which means I just haven't kneaded the black fully into the white. Stick this to the centre of the backing board, ruffling it up so it isn't just flat. With some very, very, very dark brown, roll out sausages and frame the rectangle, leaving them taller. Texture them with the Dresden tool and place a flat piece of paste across the top to hold the horizontal pieces level. Then stick on some small pointed spikes for extra detail. Using a slightly lighter brown, cut out strips with pointed edges to make pieces of broken wood. These are the signs. One goes across the top of the door and a longer one above that. Then place in a longer post to the left and stick a piece of wood to the top of that. To keep it from flopping, you can either let it set before you stick it on or put some balls of paste underneath the planks to raise them, if you're impatient like me. For the paint, I'm using white dust mixed with gel colour in yellow and red. All you have to do is mix it with a little water for a more opaque paint. The smaller sign says Castle Byers, and the one on the left says All Friends Welcome. Then with the red, which is a little hard to read on camera, says Home of Will the Wise. Lower this into the cake slightly towards the back and press it down until it meets the top of the cake. Add sausages to either side of the board for tree trunks and texture them. Take a ball of lighter grey paste and squash it into any shape you like. Wet it and stick it to the very top of the backing board. With a very large star tip, this is a Wilton 1M, stab and twist the paste to make it fluffy. You can use a smaller tip, it'll just take longer. Add on various blobs for the treetops until you have around 5. To create all the figures, you'll need 5 polystyrene balls. These ones are 3 cm wide, 5 cocktail sticks and some flesh tone. Take a ball of paste roughly the same size as your polystyrene and push the ball into the centre of the paste, squashing it up and around until it's fully covered. Then you need to roll it between your hands with a bit of pressure to make the whole thing smooth. Once you're happy with it, insert a cocktail stick down into the centre of the ball and pop it into the polystyrene block. Repeat this step for 4 of them and then make a darker skin tone for Lucas. For Will's jeans, take a pale blue sausage, bend it in the middle and place it in the centre of your cake. Roll some dark blue ovals and stick them to the ends for his little shoes. His body is a large red tic-tac shape cut down flat. Place the flattened edge against the pants and mark the centre of the jacket with the Dresden tool. Wrap a beige strip part way up for the pattern on his jacket. Small flattened balls of flesh make hands and little dark blue sausages with the top cut at an angle for arms just joins them up. Add some red triangles for the large collar before pushing down one of the flesh heads, which will secure the body, head and legs to the cake. Then with the white dust and water, paint little checkered patterns on the arms for his shirt. Mike is made in the same way, but he has dark blue jeans, white trainers and a small pale blue body. You then want some dark blue gel to paint on stripes. Don't worry about going all the way around as he wears a jacket. The jacket is made with a beige rectangle wrapped around the body and then trimmed down to size at the front. Fold over the top of the paste to create a collar. His hands and arms are done in the same way, but they're placed on the cake instead of on his legs. Also slide his head into place. 11's body is a little different as it's a dress. Take a piece of pink paste, pinching the larger end flat and then pressing down to flatten the whole skirt area. Bend the top of the body up and open up the bottom of the skirt with the Dresden tool. Stick this on the right hand side of the cake. It needs a little support, so we're going to put the head on now by sliding it down, which secures everything in place. Add little balls of flesh to the open part of the dress for knees, and add small white sausages to the ends of them for socks. Finish it off with ovals for shoes. Also press down the skirt to close it up. Roll little spike shapes and flatten them for the collar, placing the rounder edges in the centre and wrapping the thinner parts around the back of the neck. Add a jacket, which is a rectangle of blue paste, and make the arms in the same way. Her left arm, though, wants to come straight towards you. Add a ball of flesh slightly curved to the end, and as you'll see, you'll need some support, so place a sponge underneath until it dries. With yellow and green gels, paint in some stripes to her socks. Dustin's body is the same, except beige pants, white shoes, green body, and dark blue jacket. Lucas has dark brown pants, blue shoes, rusty orange jacket, on top of a blue body and small pale brown pouches on his belt. We're going to finish Dustin and Lucas's heads now, as they are too close to the cake to add hair afterwards. For Dustin, wrap a blue rectangle around the back of the head, bringing the excess to the top and snipping it with scissors. Fill in the gap at the front with a white rectangle of paste, pushing the two colours together until they meet. Cut a strip of red paste and add this below the white for the brim of his baseball cap. With dark brown, roll some thin strings and curl them into unruly spirals. Stick the longer ones to the side of the hat and shorter ones just below the brim. For Lucas, wrap a black circle around the back of the head and the sides, again bringing the excess to the top and snipping it off. For his bandana, roll balls of green, beige and brown, sticking them together into a colourful sausage. Roll this out gently to flatten it and cut a strip out that you then want to wrap around his whole head. Just cover the front gap with a piece of black paste, cutting it to size and then texturing the whole thing with the Dresden tool. As there is no cake to put the stick in, trim it down so it will fit inside the body and gently press it down. Here I'm dampening the side of the head with water as I can gently rest it against the cake. As this dries, the figure will not fall backwards or forwards with his big head, and it should hopefully stay completely still. Do the exact same thing for Lucas's head to keep him nice and secure. For Will's hair, I'm taking a chocolate brown circle, left quite chunky, and again pulling the excess to the top. With the Dresden tool, pull all the hair forwards to create his hairstyle. Mike's hair is a darker brown circle and messier. Just pull some of the hair forward around his face and then add 2 teardrops to each side, texturing them to match. Elevens can be painted on with dark brown gel, just dabbing the paint so you're not left with streaks. Add tiny black balls far apart for the pupils to create a cute look, and small white balls for catch lights. I'm painting on a worried look with black paint, making the eyebrows slope down. The other faces are done in the same way, but you can have different expressions, such as a shocked one from Mike, and an angry one for 11 by pointing her eyebrows down towards the middle, and adding a small amount of red for the blood on her nose. I've given Lucas a determined look, and for Dustin I've given him more happy eyes and painting on a smiley mouth with tiny pointed teeth to fit his character. It wouldn't be a Stranger Things cake without Egos. I have this tiny little square mat which when used raised side down will put in a waffle texture. I'm just quickly showing you here with a piece of yellow paste with brown added. You just want to transfer the texture and then cut it out with a small circle or plunger cutter. Look at this tiny Eggo! I'm just going to place 2 here on the front. Will's castle has an American flag, but I'm making a plain red one so I can feature the age on it. Fold the paste over a wire and insert it down into the logs, securing the centre of the flag to the backing board and curling up the edges so it looks like it's blowing in the wind. Paint on the edge with some black paint. I'm adding a little shading to the Egos with a slight orange paint. With white dust and water, create a mixture and dip in your cake decorating toothbrush. Flick your thumb across the bristles to distribute little white drops all over the cake to finish that spooky upside down look. And we're done. We had quite a lot to get through, but hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know in the comments below and tag me over on Instagram at cherrycakeco if you decide to give it a go. I'm a big Stranger Things fan, to the point I dressed my son as 11 for a Halloween disco, and my daughter made a great Dustin when she lost her front teeth. I'm looking forward to seeing what season 4 has in store. Thanks for watching, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing to see tutorials just like this one every Tuesday. And if you're not new here, thanks for always sticking around, and I'll see you all next week. Bye guys.